And Scott, you look handsome tonight. You shaved off your Santa Claus beard.
Yeah, I'm getting some mobility back.
And where's your little swing at? It's gone 2-year-old.
Gone. They got rid of it. I'm in rehab and she's taking my arm and cranking it around.
And last time I saw you, you had a beard steal over at the Christmas lighting thing.
Yeah. No, I got no excuses now.
So, Madam Clerk, would you like to call roll?
Councilmember Brightingham.
Here.
Councilmember D. Nguyen. Here. Councilmember Klompenstein. Here. Councilmember Kawin. Here. Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
And Councilmember Bowie is absent.
Yeah, I just want to note, Councilmember Bowie called me on the way over here coughing and hacking, and he came down with a really bad case of the flu, so he regrets he's not able to be here, so we will miss him tonight. Can I ask Maria Stipe to lead us in the invocation, and then Councilmember Tuhawin to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure, if everybody could please stand and prepare yourselves according to your faith. Dear Lord, we ask for your presence here tonight as we seek to understand and embrace the needs of our community. We humbly ask that you would guide us to answer those needs and to do what is best for all of the citizens of Garden Grove. Amen.
Amen.
Put your right hand over your heart. There's a flag and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us straight into presentations. We do have two tonight. So starting with 1A, which is a community spotlight in recognition of Allison Wilson's retirement after 36 years of service with the city.
This evening, the Garden Grove City Council is very honored to recognize an accomplished city veteran who is retiring from the city of Garden Grove after 36 years of working to improve and enhance the Garden Grove community. She is also celebrating her birthday today, so happy birthday, Allison. Could you please come forward and stand in front of everybody?
The hot seat.
Allison began her career with the Garden Grove Police Department in 1984 as a part-time police cadet. After only a year, she was promoted to full-time as a police service aide and was recognized as the Civilian Employee of the Year. In 1990, her title changed to Community Service Officer. In 1994, Allison joined the City Hall family as a code enforcement officer for the Development Services Division. In 2001, she transferred to the Economic Development Department as an administrative analyst, where she was later promoted to senior administrative analyst, then to project planner, then to senior project planner, and then in 2010, Allison was again promoted to division manager for the Community Development Department, where she oversaw the Code Enforcement Division and the Neighborhood Improvement Division. As Code Enforcement Division Manager, Allison was committed to work with the city's code enforcement officers, the resident and residents in a joint effort to improve and preserve Garden Grove neighborhoods and maintain the city's quality of life. In the 10 years Allison has been in the division and working as division manager for neighborhood improvement, she managed up to $10 million in grants from the federal government that fund affordable housing programs that assist homeless individuals in Garden Grove. Allison was also responsible for the city's affordable housing projects such as Wesley Village, which is a 47-unit multi-generational community, and Grove Park, which is a 104-unit low-income apartment complex. At this time, the Garden Grove City Council would like to present Allison Wilson with a Crystal Award in recognition and appreciation of her 36 years of dedicated service to the city of Garden Grove and its residents. The city of Garden Grove wishes Allison many wonderful years of retirement. Congratulations.
before we do that, sorry, Allison, but Kim Wins says I have to do this, so.
Oh.
On three. 1, 2, 3. Happy
Oh, no.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Allison. And happy birthday to you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And please, if you're going to say
Get a picture? Oh, good to see Carmen. Sorry.
Oh, it's very different on this side. Normally I sit over there. But thank you all. It's been great to work with everybody. It's been a great 36 years, and I couldn't have asked for a better place to work. Thank you very much.
Hey, Allison, you got to get a picture first. You got to get a picture.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You don't get off that easy.
All right. 1, 2, and 3. 1 more. Hey, got it? Cool.
That's it.
Now you tell us.
Oh, you should have wore that.
Yeah. All right. Item 1B, Community Spotlight in recognition of the students visiting us from Garden Grove's sister city, Anyang, Korea. Annyeonghaseyo, everyone.
All right, now we are very pleased to recognize 10 high school students and 2 chaperones representing Anyang, Republic of Korea, as part of the 31st Annual Sister City Exchange Program. When I call your names, please come forward to receive your honorary citizenship certificate. So we'll start with Kim Ha-jun. Please come forward and stand before us. I'll just call all of the names, and then we can distribute the certificates. How about that? Does that work? Okay. So the next is Chi Ho-yoon. If you could come up and join your classmates.
Give these to you, and then you guys can change whatever the names are.
Okay. And Soo Yoon-jung. Jo Sung-hoon, Go Eun-gyu, Ju Soo-hyun, Yoon Ah-young, Lee Yi-jin, Kim Gu-lee, Jo Ha-young, Bi-ji-jo, Oh Ho-shin. And you're probably all laughing at me, right? Sorry about that. Hopefully I'll get it better next time. All right. For several years, the Sister City Association of Garden Grove has deepened the city's appreciation of and ties with the Republic of Korea. Through the Sister City Exchange Program, Anyang's youth have a unique opportunity to learn about American culture firsthand. They see Southern California's beautiful sights, but more importantly, experience its warm hospitality. The students, along with the chaperones, serve as Anyang's goodwill ambassadors during their 10-day stay. During their visit, they will be staying with local host families who have generously opened their homes and hearts to host the students and the chaperones. Our city warmly welcomes you to Garden Grove, and we hope your trip will be truly memorable. Congratulations.
Everyone look at the camera. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's do little hearts. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Cool.
Do 3A. Have fun. Have fun.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to pull item 3A forward from the consent calendar, if we could take action on that first. This is an adoption of a proclamation declaring January 13th, 2020 as Korean American Day in Garden Grove. So can I make a motion and can I get a second?
Second.
Called vote?
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
Great. There are 2 proclamations for Korean American Day and 2 people at tonight's meeting who will accept the frame proclamations. So would Kyung Ja Kim, chairperson of the Korean American Federation, and also John Kim, on behalf of John Kim, and also Brian Chung, president of the Korean American Chamber of Commerce of Orange County, please come forward.
Yes, please.
Can we take a quick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go.
You sure?
Yeah.
One, 2, 3. Let me take one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
That's bad karma, George.
I didn't understand.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
First, thank you for having us, Mayor Steve Jones and Councilman. Today is a very special day for Korean American. First Korean landed in Hawaii, 1903, and since then, Korean community grow very big, and especially Southern California, and also, Orange County, Garden Grove is a very special city for Korean American. When they open up the business, Garden Grove in Orange County, Garden Grove is the first city they open up in Orange County. Once again, thank you for inviting us, and thank you.
Alrighty, that takes us on to oral communications. I do have a handful of cards, starting with Tom Raber.
Thank you, Mayor Steve Jones, for me to be the first one so I can say Happy New Year 2020. We all have laws and codes to follow in Garden Grove. These are there for the protection of each homeowner and neighbor. Code number 9.08.40.110. On the interior lots, a fence, wall, hedge not exceeding 7 feet in height may be located anywhere on the lot to the rear of the line of the required front yard. 9.12.40.140, a wall or fence not exceeding 8 feet in height may be constructed along the portion of a lot or parcel that abuts a freeway right-of-way. First of all, this is a tape measure. This one happens to go 33 feet. I think the city has an 8-foot tape measure someplace lying around. On the property in West Garden Grove that you can see when you exit the freeway, there ain't no abuts of the freeway there. The word abuts of the freeway means an on-ramp. The on-ramp actually starts right where the sound wall is, roughly 200 feet away from that given property. In fact, the property I have, I can't even put an 8-foot fence because I also can, it's before the sound wall. So I sent an email to David Dent on November 18th of last year. I sent another one on December 23rd of last year, so I could be the last one to send an email to all parties. Parties being David Dent, Scott Stiles, Maria Stein, Lisa Kim, Lee Marino, and Pete Rogue. Out of all those, I only got one response from David Dent telling me that it was sent over to planning for some reason. 8 feet. Is that really that tall? Not really, except for the code says 7 feet. My mom was 5'2", now she's 4'8". So, for her to look up at the sky, she's losing a lot of the sky that she used to have, which the fence was only 6 feet. The rear of this property, which was permitted for masonry fence, is for 6 feet. If they would want a 7-foot fence, they should have got a masonry permit for a 7-foot fence. Now let's talk about block fences. Can you believe it? That's the only type of fence in Garden Grove that you need a permit. Other than that, a plastic or wood, no permit necessary. How safe is that? In fact, David Dent, when I saw him, the first meeting in November, he actually wants to know why isn't there a permit needed for a wooden fence? In Tustin, you do, and wherever he lives, you do. So, how long does it take to take a tape measure to go out to the house to measure the lawn or the wall itself? Now, this gets pretty technical here. Where do you measure from? You measure from the original ground. You do not measure from more dirt put onto that ground, or if that person has an 8-foot concrete on that ground. You measure it from the original ground. So, I'm asking Stiles and everybody else here, when am I going to receive an email? What's happening? In fact, yesterday I did go to City Hall. They put the address in. And whatever notes are underneath that address, that very nice young lady said, there's a freeway there. So either you guys haven't driven over to where I'm talking about, there's no freeway. In fact, there's a lanes. That's about it for that one there. Second of all, I went to Westminster Council to see if there was going to be a big giant uproar over the recall. There wasn't. But I was very impressed that they have 85-inch TVs there. Is that city better than us? Also, can you believe it? That they have a buzzer that sounds out after 5 minutes. And that mayor, even though he had to recall himself, as soon as that 5 minutes buzzer went off, he stopped that person from talking, and that's the way it should be. One of the council members wants me again, which I've already done numerous times. For some reason, that's not working today, so I guess I'm okay. It's very simple. Is that you can go ahead and put that clock up there for the full 5 minutes, and I think that's the way it should be.
Remote control.
And that's about it, and happy 2020.
Thank you. Craig Durfee.
My name is Craig Durfee for the residents of Garden Grove, a founder of Parents' Right of Developing Children. I am now part of the State California Suicide Prevention Steering Committee. I've gained a lot of opportunities to help our community, our state, our country. And I encourage you to recognize the documents you have before you. They don't come easy, the research. It don't come easy to have to do all yourself and to write on a veteran issue, but it's a personal thing to me. I once went to Vietnam War. You have a gentleman here, a councilman, who served your country. I had an opportunity to Legion Post 1555 to be escorted by the guard to the flag, to the commander, salute. I presented my information. I was escorted back. The Legion made an effort to decide. They are going to support a monument of some form. Hopefully the foundation of Garden Grove will be behind it, but it is going to meet and greet with you people, public comment, and a letter, and also the region commander, which is served under Unberg, is take it to the Elks Lodge. So you have something to deal with now. You didn't respond to me, so now you have your answer. You're not paying attention to the community, quite frankly. It's not just what you want to do, it's what the needs of the community, and you're not responding to something as sensitive as that. That's sad. You don't have governance in your city. If you look at OCD Daryl Johnson, he has a list of things he's supposed to accomplish and report back. You don't have that. You don't have the money for the grant for what you need for your irrigation and parks because no one can do it. You haven't recognized that. You have a $200,000 potential liability issue, this development of the $2 million project. You're not working on it. This is where you're losing the ship, and I'm really disappointed in all of you. This is what you're supposed to be doing is governance, not hoping it'll happen. Now, another thing is, last month I planned a special thing for my anniversary for my wife, my birthday, and getting rid of cancer and surgery. I planted a tree, and I'm trained very well in tree issues where I worked. And I went to all the LA trade shows, and they have in Saudi Arabia a product you buy at Home Depot to stop the trees from dying of stress. You can't water them. As you build your trees, you can't get to them in a dry in climate. Depends on the weather. So I paid that $35. It goes in the bottom. It's wet. The trees get through that. They penetrate 100 pounds per square inch. And no matter what happens, the tree stays alive. And instead, it's like the one tree you got here, the little tree is just drying out and it's not growing because it doesn't get the water ample enough to grow and mature. You have to. So in other words, the tree is planted. I want to thank the Public Works tree supervisor. I wanted to give him a thank you, shout out, compliment my birthday. I said, no overtime. We're going to do this on your time. The crew came out. They did a beautiful job. Great soil. And so I believe in the issue of the governor of April of 19 on the issue of the climate change. You are responsible as governance of this city to meet the needs, quite honestly, and you're not. And I will tell you right up front, it's public record now. You have the documents for you. There's no way you said you didn't read it. Now, if you don't want to do that, that's your problem, because on an election, people are going to be looking at the Willowick, and I will help them. So I'd like to meet with, one more time, I'm asking my representative, O'Neill. Shelley and Colorado Leash is supporting me. Home Depot, if I write the letter, people are paying attention to the issue of our dogdom, our country. And this one you're not going to get away with, personally. Because I won't mess with the Vietnam War, and I was on the lotto. So I take this personal. And you didn't respond to me. So you have it now. The other thing is there's going to be a trade show in March for the animal control and officers. I intend and hope that you will have your staff become educated on cruelty animals, because as part of the state of California suicide prevention and the local mental health task force steering committee I was on, violence is a concern. And the only way you're going to get violence, as Terry Rockwell told me, they're not teaching it, is humane education. There's no way around it. And you own a kennel, and you should be promoting this as a prevention of dog abuse, because Dahmer was becoming cruel to animals. He became violent. And you're breeding this technology that's degrading the ability of the kid to have empathy. You have psychologists purposely training kids to be violent. You're dealing with a lot of issues here in your community, and you won't listen. I don't care, sir, the mayor, I agree with you back, 8 years ago. We are on the same page. On page 2 yesterday of Daryl Johnson, it was safe route to school planning. That was my work, sir. It never happened. What we're leading is a bike co-op program so kids can learn through soft skills, ohms and amps, and gear ratios so they can be productive in society. When you grow, you have to have people that fix bikes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Can't read this card, but maybe Julian DeLuo? Yes, sir. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Julian?
Yeah,
Okay.
just sorry, I scrabble. Hello and good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Happy New Year's to you guys too. Happy to be here with you guys. Unfortunately, I couldn't complain as well. But before I do, thank you guys for your service, each and every one of you. I know it's not easy to come out here and do what you guys do, so thank you all. With that being said, I guess the first thing is the train that's being constructed through Garden Grove. My family and I have opposed that since the very beginning. I guess we didn't really like the idea of having a train run through the back of where we live. And in addition to that, I've had some pretty bad experiences. I will quickly explain one. It was a Thursday night. I was preparing for an exam I had studied for an exam for Friday morning, and I couldn't go to sleep first because of the stress. It was math, of course. Mm-hmm. And then you had the heavy machinery going off, dun, 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 and then shaking where we live. And so I was like, okay, I know that the noise ordinance is 10 p.m. Boom. 10 p.m. came along. They didn't stop. I called Garden Grove PD. They're like, okay, well, we can't really send anybody because I live at the mobile home park by Willowick. And so they're like, oh, that's Santa Ana. I call Santa Ana, and Garden Grove police were very kind, but Santa Ana, I can't say the same. They have some issues with their customer service over there. But and then I called the sheriff, and I got no response. They said that City of Santa Ana had given them permits, and they can do that. They were up there until 2 o'clock in the morning, and that had been the second night that's going on. So with that being said, and I actually got to see it, I strongly, personally encourage the City Council, each and every one of you, as a kind request, to vote against item 3C, which is the adoption of a resolution supporting an OC streetcar extension. All right, and then that would be enough for that. The second thing is the streets. In the state of California and as a city, I guess we have more people paying more taxes for more services that we're not getting. It barely sprinkles, and all of Trask gets flooded. That becomes a one-lane street. You go north on Fairview towards the freeway, that becomes a one. Everybody drives on the median right there because of so flooded that it gets on the sides. And then also the exit out the 22 freeway on Hastur to get Hastur to Fairview, that floods. I mean, it doesn't even, it just literally sprinkles a little bit and it gets flooded. And frankly, I'm from Mexico. The streets in Tijuana have become a lot better than the ones here, which is frankly embarrassing for a city like Garden Grove. Well, with that being said, that's enough of me harassing the City Council for today. But I just ask you guys to take that into consideration. And I did get to speak with Public Works several times. I got to meet a few managers there. Forgot their names, it was a long time ago. But it's because one other thing that I forgot to mention. Driving right out of that mobile home park is like driving on speed bumps. Dum, 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 dum. And that street never gets fixed. And I've called, and they've come out to, like, I'm having a brain fart here, but where they just cover the little areas that need the little help, but then, it rains a little a year later and it's back to the same level. So just those things, and I would like those things to be addressed. With that being said, again, my name is Julian De La O Solis, and thank you guys for listening to my complaints.
Thank you.
You guys have a good night. Happy New Year's.
You too, sir. Thank you. Demian Garcia Monroe.
Hello, Mayor Steve Jones, fellow council members. Thank you for giving us 5 minutes to speak. Congratulations, Mayor Jones, on your appointment to the OCTA. I can't think of a better person. I know you've been very involved with our traffic, especially here in Garden Grove. My name is Demian Garcia Monroy. I am the founder of Special Ed Families in Garden Grove District Schools. It's unofficial. It's not part of the district. It's a parent-run organization of over 100 parents and advocates. I'm now in the process of founding a civil rights organization of special education that's going to be similarly structured to NAACP, LULAC, and ACLU. We're already multi-county. We haven't even been legitimately founded yet. I think by the time we start, we'll be a state organization, and soon after that, we'll be a national. So, and all of this has been thanks to the pushback that I've gotten from the Garden Grove Unified School District. I never in my mind dreamed that I would be doing something so big. But I have been working on special education and other issues at Garden Grove Unified School District. A lot of, safety for our children. And many different issues, such as best practices in special education, fair, positive treatment of all parents, no bullying, retaliation, intimidation of parents, especially when they advocate for their children, prompt addressing of misconduct of employees, as well as training and support, transparency related to special education budget, and also program changes, a lot of different issues. The district, we have a great, wonderful school district. I support it. I don't want you to think I'm here to bash it. We have the best teachers in the county. I think probably everybody knows that. There's a lot of really wonderful things about our district, but there's a lot of going on in terms of the top level. They have been very responsive to me on countless issues that I've brought to them, but on some of these that I just mentioned and others, they've been dragging their feet for the last 3 years. We've just had a meeting with Trustee Cherry Rocco and our SOPA Director, Valerie Shedd, so supposedly some of these things are going to get fixed. But I'm here to inform you of one thing. So we had a principal over at Murdy retaliate against one of my parents because of special education issues parents are advocating for, and she was stalking my parent at the parking lot, intimidating her, bullying her into not being able to use the parking lot anymore as a previous accommodation given to her for her disability and her children's disability. Which is completely against the law to do something like that. So I sent her a cease and desist letter, and basically I got one back from the district. And so they sent me a whole bunch of lies, but I do admit on that letter was I did have a lot of volume, and my tone has not been nice with the district. And I do want to point out the reason my tone and volume of letters have been the way they were in the last couple of years is because these issues have been pushed aside and not addressed with the district. So I've made it a point not to do that anymore, obviously, because it bothers them, but I still am working on advocacy issues. As you can see, I'm forming a national organization now. But I think that the district, the city, because you run the police department, and I'm glad we have Chief of Police Tom Duray, and I think we have the top police department in the nation. I think you guys would obviously agree. But it's important to understand that as I'm working with all these parent groups, forming this national organization, there's a very despicable trend that when parents advocate for their children's special needs, school districts retaliate using these ed codes that have come up because of all the school shootings, okay? So I understand we have to keep our children safe, but I have been fighting to keep our children safe at Garden Grove Unified School District in terms of seclusion, in terms of restraints, in terms of mistreatment, in terms of covering up abuse. I mean, all sorts of stuff I have seen, and I have not come out publicly like I am today because I do care about our Garden Grove Unified School District image. I've been working with the administrators and so forth. But the thing is, I've been fighting for the safety of our children. And then they turn around and they try to get the police department to, or at least they try to make me look like a threat. They sent me an Instagram from their attorney. It's like, come on, seriously, I've been fighting for the safety of our kids. And I want you guys to know I'm not the only one. There's several other people right here, and other people that aren't here with me today, but they are retaliated against, okay, because they're advocating. And so I want you guys to understand that when parents advocate for their children, it is a national trend. It's despicable. Sorry.
Thank you.
And know that it's a retaliation. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Tanya Pham.
Good job.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council Member, City Manager, and everybody, and the community member behind me. Thank you for the opportunity to come up here. Good to be back here, and Happy New Year to, and then also the Lunar New Year is coming up pretty soon, as you know. So my name is Tanya Pham. I am a volunteer ambassador for the Fountain Valley Pickleball. But why I am here, because as you know, this lady called me the pickle woman. I super love pickleball. I'm not sure many of you might have heard of pickleball. It's a funny name, but it has sweeping the country, as some of you already know. So my passion for it is top of the roof. So I have helped build the Fountain Valley Pickleball. And so now I would love to do what I can to help the Garden Grove. So I'm here because number one, the facility sport facility in Garden Grove, right on Western and Lamson, having a grand opening. We call a New Year Kickoff Pickleball Mixer on Monday, the 27th. So I would like to extend the invitation and the flyer. This lady has it to everybody and the community. It's free, open to the public. We're gonna have food, music, raffle prizes, and open play and introductory lesson and everything to anybody. Paddle and balls are ready for you. So all you need to do is bring yourself good shoes, comfortable clothes, and enjoy yourself. So that's number one. Number two is, as you know, the Fountain Valley last September, was the host city for West Regional Tournament, pickleball tournament. And because of my passion, I was able to bring it to the national attention and get the Mount Square Park, the tennis center there, being the host. And it continued to be a host city for this year in September. So with that being said, we would love to, I work very closely with the Orange County District Ambassador and the West Regional Ambassador, so we would love to see how Garden Grove can be a big part of this. And the national tournament, as you might know, is now, actually this is the third year in Indian Well. And so everything is in in California now. So it is a very fun sport. It's not only, I see it because of my passion and vision. I see it's not only good for, the community physically, mentally, but it's a good revenue way to, bring revenue to the city financially too. So thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Guys, thank you.
And this is the paddle and the ball.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Sounds fun. I'm in. I love it.
Cool. You're gonna demonstrate it for us.
Cool. It's catching on in Garden Grove now. Love it. Okay, that concludes oral communications. We will go to successor agency. Madam Clerk, would you like to call roll?
Member Bradigan?
Here.
Member O'Neill?
Here.
Member Nguyen?
Here.
Member Klopfenstein?
Here.
Member Nguyen?
Here.
And Chair Jones, and Vice Chair Bowie is absent.
We already did oral communications simultaneously with City Council. We've got several consent items. It's recommended all items be acted on simultaneously. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Call to vote.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
And that's it. Any matters from agency members? Seeing none, we will adjourn back to City Council. Reconvene City Council, and that takes us on to consent items for council. We already did 3A. We pulled that forward, so it's recommended that 3B through 3E be acted on simultaneously unless anyone would like to pull. Any polls?
Move the balance.
Second.
Call the vote.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
All right, moving right along. Items for consideration, we have several, so we go to 4A.
Okay. Item 4A is approval of amendment number 1 to the agreement with Engineering Resources of Southern California, Inc. for on-call civil plan checking services. And Mr. Murray is here to give the report.
Thank you, Mr. Pomeroy, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, City Council is being asked to approve an amendment to an existing agreement with Engineering Resources of Southern California for on-call civil engineering plan checking services. The proposed amendment will extend the contract for an additional 2 years and will cost $200,000. The existing contract was for $600,000. Plan checking services are charged per private project to private developers that are doing work within the city. As such, there is no impact to the general fund, and this is expenditure is included in the city budget. Staff is recommending approval of the amendment and to authorize the city manager to execute the amendment on behalf of the city. This concludes staff's report. I'm available should you have any questions.
Just items for consideration, not a public hearing, so motion?
Second.
Call the vote.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
4B.
4B is adoption of a resolution authorizing a funding agreement with the California State Water Resources Control Board for a groundwater treatment project. And Mr. Murray will give the report.
Thank you, Mr. Pomeroy, Mr. Mayor, and members of the council. Last summer, the state of California requested the city test 7 wells for perfluorooctanic acid, which is short PFOA, and perfluorooctane sulfate, which PFOS. I will refer to both of these chemicals in the remainder of this speech as PFOS. Out of the 7 wells tested, 6 showed the presence of PFOS. To date, 2 wells have been shut down because the level of this chemical exceeds the state response limit. Those wells are located at West Haven Park and the Lansom Reservoir. For your information, Garden Grove has 13 wells that produce water. At this time, staff is working to design filtering systems which will remove the PFOS from our water. The estimated construction cost of the filters will vary from $2 to $4 million depending on their, the size. And once the designs are finalized, we will bring those projects to council for your approval or consideration. But first, let me provide some additional background. PFOS is a man-made chemical that was developed in the 40s and became widely used in the manufacture of products because of its resistance to water, oil, and heat. Over the decades, PFOS has been used to help waterproof and stain-proof clothes, shoes, furniture, carpets, to make non-stick cookware, to fortify cardboard food containers and paper wrappers. Also is used to improve the firefighting foam used at airports and our local firefighting agencies. It also is used in chrome plating, which chrome plating is pretty much disappearing from California. Good news is, starting in early 2000, the manufacturers began to phase out the use of PFOS. It is no longer manufactured or imported into the United States. What we're doing tonight is asking council to adopt a resolution authorizing a funding agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board for the operation and maintenance of these proposed PFOS filtration systems. The grant is for $500,000, and the match requirement is for $250,000. This we're proposing to come out of our water funds. Staff is recommending adoption of the resolution and to authorize myself to act as the city's agent with regards to the matters dealing with the Water Resources Control Board. This concludes my report, and I'm available should you have any questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a question.
Okay.
So this PFAS levels, they haven't increased in the wells. It's just that the standards the state, if I'm understanding it correctly, the state has just reduced the level that's deemed acceptable. Is that correct? Or
The state hasn't done that yet. The current standard that everybody is using at this moment right now is the federal standard, which is 70 parts per trillion. And so to put that in perspective, a trillionth of a part is equivalent to a grain of sand if you were to fill up an Olympic swimming pool with sand. So it's pretty small. The limit right now for the federal government is 70, and we have 2 wells that exceed that. We are expecting that the state will lower that requirement down to 30, in which case we expect an additional 4 wells to be pulled offline because the levels will be exceeded.
thank you.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Call the vote.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
4C.
Item 4C is adoption of a resolution authorizing an application for and receipt of 2019 CalHome Grant Program funds. And Mr. Throne is here to give the report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Lisa Kim, Community and Economic Development Director. I'll be presenting your item this evening. The item for your consideration is an approval of a resolution authorizing the application of and receipt of 2019 CalHome Grant Program funds. On November 27, 2019, the California Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD, released a notice of funding availability offering approximately $57 million of CalHome program funds. Staff is proposing to request $2 million in grant funding for the following purposes. $1 million will be available for a first-time home buyer mortgage assistance loan. The additional $1 million request is for ADU and JDU construction loan program to assist with soft costs associated with development of ADUs and JDUs. If awarded, the CalHome program funds will be implemented over a 36-month period and anticipate to assist approximately 90 Garden Grove residents. It should be noted that in your packet this evening, there is a yellow related to a revised resolution as the NOFA was subsequently amended and released on December 23rd. This concludes my presentation, and staff is available for questions.
Call the vote.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
Alrighty, that takes us on to matters, and we have none specifically listed, so we'll just go around the horn. George?
Yeah, only before we meet next time, Garden Grove will have hosted its very first Garden Grove Tet Parade on January 26th. So just shout out to everyone, come out and be a part of it, and watch it go down. Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
We say?
I stole her thunder. With that being said, Happy New Year, everyone. This is the first council meeting of the new year, and hope everybody had a good holiday season.
Yeah, likewise here. Just hope everybody has a good, safe and sane 2020. Moving forward, a prosperous and safe 2020, and Chuck Mung Nam Moy. And we'll see you at the Tet Parade and all the Tet all the functions happening next weekend. 3 days, festivities. That's the word I was trying to say. A little bit under the weather tonight, so make it short.
Oh, it's okay. We share the thunder together. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy Lunar New Year's, and we wish you health, wealth, and prosperity. And look forward for 2020, right?
Couple comments. I had a resident come speak tonight. Wasn't expecting it, and I was hoping he would have stayed so I could have addressed some of the comments that he made. Although we did pass item 3C, I would like to ask staff if we can follow up with the city of Santa Ana to check on their noise ordinance and also maybe their customer service at the Santa Ana Police Department. I'm happy to connect with some of the council members from that city as well if need be. I just want to reassure that when we move that forward on our end, can we please make sure that we take that into consideration, as that will be going up my district and potentially through Stephanie's at some point. And so let's make sure that we're not impacting our residents in a negative way. In regards to the street repair, I coincidentally had a meeting with Director of Public Works Bill Murray last week to discuss that very issue. And I'm going to be meeting with State Senator Umberg at some point, and I've already called Assemblymember Tom Daly to discuss this issue regarding flooding in my district and partially through Stephanie's district in D5 down Haster. It's a much larger issue than we can potentially handle on our own as a city, so enlisting the help of bigger guns to kind of help us get what we need to get done. And then, Bill, I hope you're listening. Can we look at Buena Clinton and see if we can work out something for that street? I think the gentleman mentioned that it's very bumpy and the interim fixes only last through until there's rain. And then lastly, I wanted to share that this Saturday at 10 a.m. in downtown Santa Ana will be the 4th annual Women's March in Orange County. It is a local volunteer-driven grassroots coalition of individuals and organizations dedicated to promoting equity and advancing the status of women and women's issues. It's all-inclusive and family-friendly. It's a great event. I love seeing the little kiddos with their great signs. You know, some of them are in strollers, some of them are on their parents' shoulders, and others are marching around with some really great posters. Again, it's downtown Santa Ana by Flower and 6th Street. If you haven't been before, I encourage you to come. We have a lot of Garden Grove high schools that attend this march with their friends and family. So if you're free and want to participate in something very cool, I encourage you all to come and bring your kids and your family and, you know, pull your neighbors into. It's a great event. I think the last couple of years we've had over 20,000 people marching. So if you're free, please join us.
I have two things to mention tonight. I need to just make mention of a vector control issue. Mosquitoes, believe it or not, even though it's freezing cold outside, they are still breeding. They are still an issue in Orange County. Unfortunately, the types of mosquitoes that are here now, the new norm is that we have biting mosquitoes year-round. They are able now to breed in the cold weather. They're not going dormant like they did in years past, where we thought, okay, through this month, we're kind of free of this. And they're also ones that will follow you inside and then begin to breed in your indoor house plants. In fact, one of the employees at Vector Control was getting bit terribly and realized they were breeding in her Christmas tree water in her house. So they're everywhere, they're all over the place, so we just continue to promote the message of dumping and draining standing water. It's a shared responsibility. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends and family. The more people that do it, the better off we'll be. The other thing I wanted to make mention of is NAM. The NAM convention is coming to the Anaheim Convention Center this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. Obviously, first and foremost, I want to say that NAM is a good thing for Garden Grove and for our resort district. It fills up our hotels, it generates a lot of revenue and energy into the resort district and into our city. Our restaurants fill up, our hotels fill up. The Target, which is one of the top 5 performing Targets in the nation, is full of people buying different things and so forth. So it's very good for the corridor. However, the NAM convention is somewhat of a burden for some of the residents that live in District 5 that back up and bump up to the convention center. So I initiated some meetings with staff after talking to quite a few residents about the issues they have with parking and congestion in the area. I met with the city manager, Scott Stiles, and our police chief, our public works director, and we started kind of talking about a game plan for that particular neighborhood during the NAM convention, and we had some really great ideas and a great conversation. We took it a step further, and today we met with Anaheim staff, their police chief and city manager, people from the convention center and so forth, to talk about ways to kind of mitigate the Uber and Lyft drop-off situation that's creating a problem in the area, and just further ways to combat some of the congestion that is affecting the residents in that neighborhood. They're not against NAM, they just want to make sure that they can park on their street and that their quality of life isn't too greatly affected during these large conventions. The conventions are growing, which is a good thing. We have bigger conventions than ever before, but we need to make sure we're protecting the residents of District 5 and the surrounding area. So I want to thank staff, our police chief, public works director, our city manager, and everyone that's been helping me and the residents with this issue. And hopefully we can get through NAM in one piece. Thank you.
Thanks, Steph, for
Yeah.
rolling up your sleeves and getting involved in that one. City Manager Scott Stiles.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, council members, just 3 quick items. Just a little update. At our next council meeting, we're going to be a little busy with a bunch of presentations to you. We will be bringing in the census folks and our own staff to give a update presentation on census activities. We'll be talking a little bit about what the county and the census officials are going to be doing. In addition, what we'll be doing with the $15,000 grant that we received, kind of giving you a little preview. Obviously, March and April is rapidly approaching. That's when the real census effort's going to begin in earnest. And I know you all know about it, but for the folks that are listening, the census count, getting it right, getting everybody counted is incredibly important for our community. It determines the amount of money that we receive to provide services to our community for the next 10 years. So it's important, and we want to make sure that we do everything we can do to get everybody counted. So we'll be talking a little bit about that at the next meeting. Also very, very important, I know to all the members of council and the community, we're going to be giving an update presentation to you about our police facility needs assessment. So that work has been going on. We've gotten tremendous input from all the members of our police department. I think actually I just got a report today, 127 of them or so gave input to our needs assessment consultants about what our police department needs today and going into the future. So they'll be talking to us a little bit about the size and scale, about what a modern police facility in Garden Grove might look like. As you can imagine, the price tag is not small, but the first step is for us to talk about and identify what the need is, and also for a bigger picture is to look about how that fits into the entire Civic Center picture. So this won't be, there won't be any decisions made in 2 weeks. Nothing we'll be asking you to decide. It's just the first step of talking about what some of the needs are. There's lots of moving parts. We know that John Montanchez and his staff are doing a Parks Master Plan, how that fits into the whole thing. We are looking into long-term housing needs on the site, and the Acacia Adult Daycare Center has talked to us about what their future needs are. So this will be a long-term discussion where we'll be getting your input many, many steps along the way. And I envision some community input and all kinds of things we'll be doing. So this will be the first step that you'll be getting next week, is to talk about that. This will be mainly just more of a police discussion about police facilities, but it'll be the first step. And then the last thing is, I know Lisa Kim and her staff are going to be bringing back a little update presentation on information about short-term rentals, what we're doing with that. So that'll be another presentation that we'll be making in addition to the other agenda items. So just kind of wanted to share that with everybody in advance. If you have questions for us over the next couple weeks, please feel free to reach out to me, and we, as always, try to address those as best we can. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Scott, I have a request, since we're going to have the census folks here.
Yeah.
Can you reach out to them and ask if they can present, like, what kind of uniforms or T-shirts they wear, if there's any kind of identification? We've already had a couple of incidents of people casing houses and saying they're census workers. So it'd be nice if we could educate the public onto what kind of badges they would have, or what kind of T-shirts they'd be wearing, so people can feel at ease that it is a census worker or not. I don't know if they can release that information, or if they would be willing to, but if they're doing a presentation, maybe they could include that.
Oh, I think they can. We'll absolutely address that issue when they're here in a couple weeks. Thank you. Good point. Yeah. I mean, it kind of falls into the whole scope. I hate to go off a little bit, but the whole scale and scope of making feel comfortable giving the census takers information, so that, you know, we all know, you know, we're not talking even regardless of immigration issues and everything else. There's just, we have a pretty dense community, and we know in some cases people have lots of folks living in their houses, and in some cases, you know, we don't want people to feel afraid to tell us you know, how many people are living here and in their house in Garden Grove, and be afraid to give us an inaccurate number because they think maybe a building inspector or some other person is coming to their house and they're going to have to leave. So that's not the point of it. We want to make sure people are comfortable giving us accurate information. That involves a lot of good language information and skills, and they'll be talking about the actual census workers themselves working in the neighborhoods and what they're doing. So we'll try and figure out strategies that all of you on your social media efforts and other things can use your own voices to help as well. So thank you for that comment. We'll definitely make sure that's included.
Thank you. Legal counsel, do we have any need for closed session? Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.